It's weird to interview you. This is peculiar to actually have a sit-down interview.
I said, why don't I do some cooking? So no, we want to do like a professional interview. Like,
well, you'll never get that with us.
There I am. I put a jacket on for you guys.
Very smart.
So explain what you're doing, because this has also been part of your tour as well. And this is the fact that everybody knows that money's a bit tight at the moment, and it is possible to feed your family, feed your kids, and it doesn't have to cost the earth.
That's why I decided to do the book. You know, so probably since Brexit, this is happening because the price of the food went high all of a sudden, about 15–20%, and everybody started to panic. You know, how are we going to do? You know, people that have the average wage, they start to panic. I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a book where not only it's healthy, but I'm also going to show you how great is Italian. Remind people that Italian food is not expensive.
And that's the thing, because also people think when you eat healthy, they go, but it's much cheaper to buy the frozen products or the thing products, and that's not true. And you've got some tips for...
I've got some tips how to preserve vegetable if you want to buy them when they're in season, which they're cheap.
Buying food in season is one of your top tips.
Of course.
Freezing food, so not necessarily buying frozen food, but freezing.
No, freezing. We forget how good the freezer is for when you cook. We think that frozen food is bad for you, which is rubbish, because frozen is much better than actually having something at ambient temperature with a lot of preservatives.
Like frozen peas, for example.
Frozen peas is the best invention ever. So do a big batch.
I think
Aeroplanes.
No, I'm talking about
antibiotics.
See? When I say ever, I mean ever as far as food is concerned. No, as you know, it's one of the greatest things that we have in frozen food is peas.
It's peas.
Yes. And fish finger. I like fish fingers.
Oh, I like a fish finger sandwich.
A fish finger sandwich with mayonnaise and mustard.
It's just beautiful. You say plan your food as well.
Plan your food. People forget again to plan the food. They only think about tonight. They never think about, okay, if I do something tonight, can I actually use it again for, I don't know, in 2 days' time?
Think about leftovers.
You make a meat sauce. May as well make a big batch today, and in 2–3 days' time, the same meat sauce, today you have it with the pasta, in 3 days you can stuff some peppers, put a bit of cheese on top, and goes into the oven again.
Your children, because you've got 2 sons, you've got 1 daughter.
Yeah.
How involved are they in the kitchen? Do you make, because you also say that the kitchen should be a happy place. It's a fun place. It's a discovery and experimenting.
When we were children, you're younger than us, but when we were kids, you and I my mother used to use the kitchen as an entertainment place to entertain children. We didn't have iPhones and all the technology the kids have now. So the kitchen used to be our moment to play with our parents. And this is where I think parents nowadays are making a huge mistake by not allowing the children
to cook
in the kitchen to cook. Use that one. You know, if you have to play with those Play-Doh thing where you make things up, well, may as well play with mincemeat and roll some meatballs. It's the same thing. Children love.
And then they have a greater understanding it, and then they'll try different things. Because a lot of children nowadays stick to the same foods.
All
they're
the
quite
time.
fussy.
Well, fussy is not because of the children problem. Fussy is because of the stupid parents that are out there.
Okay.
That's why.
Fussy, let me just clarify that. Fussy eating is stupid parents.
Yes.
Why?
Because parents don't want to fight anymore. Parents don't want to say no anymore, because the easiest thing for everybody is to say is, you don't want that, don't worry about it, I'm gonna give you something else, so I'm gonna do this. So your house all of a sudden is becoming a restaurant. And that's one thing that I can't get my head around, because when I was a child, when I was a kid, my mom used to prepare dinner, and that was it. There is no, I don't want the pepper, or I don't want this, I don't want that. That was what you eat. I think parents in the old days, they were ready more to fight and stick with it.
So if your kids didn't eat something that you made for them, what would you do?
Send them to bed without dinner. It's very easy. They're not gonna die because they don't have one dinner. You know, with all the fat and all the things that we eat
I can't
nowadays.
imagine they turn down your food very frequently, actually.
No, sometimes it does happen. You do a beautiful stews like that.
What
you
is
always
this?
find this is chicken with onions and peppers. You always find, even one of my kids who say, "Oh, I don't really like peppers." Well, when is the last time you tried a pepper? Yeah, but I don't like the color, or I don't like the texture, or I don't like this. And the answer is, well, that's what we go for dinner. If you don't really like it.
Well, you're obviously quite tough on it. What about Jess, though?
She's more lenient.
Is she?
She's much more lenient with me, probably because I can understand when you spend all day with the children, you know, they're yapping in your ears and stuff. Yeah, the last thing that you want at the end of the day is to have an argument over dinner table. But you know what? I beg parents to be a little bit more strong and a little bit more, you know what? This is our dinner. That's what you're going to have.
So are you, because you're about to do an Italian adventure, so a whole set of filming, aren't you?
Yes, Gino's Italian Escape. I'm leaving next week for 33 days.
So are they glad to see the back of you and think, right, we can eat what we like now?
I think in a sort of funny way, you're right. My middle boy, Rocco, he's always like, oh, when Dad is not around, we can have whatever we want. Yes, because Jessica, my wife, by the way, Jessica, she's very happy to say, okay, what do you guys want for dinner tonight? So one says, I want jack potato with cheese and beans. The other one says, I want fish. The other one says, I don't do that. I don't do that because I don't think it's a good thing.
You want everybody to eat the same.